Snow fell in thick, silent blankets over the town of Harmony Creek, dusting the rooftops and clinging to the frosted window panes. Christmas lights twinkled from every porch, their colors softened by the falling flakes, painting the evening in hues of red, green, and gold. It was a picture-perfect Christmas Eve, the kind you see on postcards, full of warmth and cheer. But inside a small cottage at the end of Main Street, the festive glow felt distant to Elias. Elias was a toy maker, his hands skilled in carving wood into whimsical figures, dancing soldiers, spinning tops, and smiling dolls. His workshop, usually a chaotic symphony of sawdust and paint, was quiet now. The fireplace crackled, casting long shadows on the walls, but it did little to warm the chill he felt inside. It had been a year since his beloved Clara passed away, and with her, the music of Christmas seemed to have faded from his life. He watched the townsfolk hurry by, their arms laden with gifts and their faces bright with holiday spirit, and a profound loneliness settled over him. He was just a spectator to a joy he no longer felt he was part of. Deciding the quiet was too much to bear, Elias bundled up and stepped outside. The crisp air stung his cheeks. He wasn't sure where he was going. He just needed to walk. He passed the town square, where a magnificent Christmas tree stood tall, its star shining like a beacon. He remembered lifting a young Clara onto his shoulders so she could place the very first ornament on a tree just like it, years and years ago. A sad smile touched his lips. The memory was sweet, but it ached. As he wandered toward the edge of town, a flicker of light near the old covered bridge caught his eye. It was faint, almost swallowed by the swirling snow. Curiosity piqued. He trudged closer. There, huddled against one of the bridge's thick wooden posts, was a small figure. It was a young girl no older than 8, clutching a simple, unlit paper lantern. She wore a thin coat, clearly not enough for the biting cold, and her small shoulders trembled. Her boots were worn, and her face was smudged with dirt and tears. "Are you all right, little one?" Elias asked gently, his voice soft so as not to startle her. She looked up, her eyes wide and full of a sorrow that seemed too big for her small frame. "I'm lost," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. "I was trying to get to my grandma's house just on the other side of Whisper Wind Ridge. My mom said she'd be waiting." Elias's heart clenched. Whisper Wind Ridge was a good 10 miles away, a treacherous journey in this storm, especially for a child. "Where is your mother now?" he asked, kneeling down beside her. The girl's lip quivered. She went to find help. Our wagon broke down a ways back. She told me to stay put. But I got scared. I thought if I could just light my lantern, she would see it and find me." She held up the lantern, but my matches got wet. Looking at the fragile paper lantern and the girl's hopeful, tear-streaked face, Elias felt a stirring in his chest, a flicker of purpose he hadn't felt in a long time. He couldn't leave her here. "My name is Elias," he said, offering a kind smile. "My workshop is just a short walk from here. It's warm and I have plenty of hot cocoa. Why don't you come with me? We can get you warmed up and I can help you with your lantern. We'll figure this out together." The girl, who told him her name was Lily, hesitated for only a moment before taking his outstretched hand. Her small, cold fingers wrapped around his, and in that simple touch, Elias felt a connection to the world again. He led her back through the snow, his steps now firm and sure. Back in the warmth of his workshop, Elias helped Lily out of her damp coat and sat her by the fire. He bustled around, making a rich, steaming mug of hot cocoa topped with a mountain of whipped cream. As she sipped it, color returned to her cheeks. He took her lantern and examined it. It was simply made, but with care. "I made it myself," Lily said proudly. "For Grandma. Mom said Christmas isn't about what you get, but what you give from the heart." Elias nodded, his own heart aching with the truth of her words. He found a small candle and a box of dry matches. He carefully lit the candle and placed it inside the lantern. A soft, golden light immediately filled the small paper house, pushing back the shadows in the workshop. Lily's face lit up with a brilliant smile that outshone the lantern itself. "It's beautiful," she breathed. Just then, a frantic knocking echoed from the workshop door. Elias opened it to find a woman, her face pale with worry, her clothes covered in snow. "I'm looking for my daughter," she cried out, her voice strained with panic. "Her name is Lily. Our wagon." "Mama!" Lily shouted, running from the fireplace and throwing herself into her mother's arms. The woman hugged her daughter tightly, tears of relief streaming down her face. She looked at Elias, her eyes filled with immense gratitude. "Thank you," she choked out. "Thank you so much. I saw the light from the road. I hoped." As they stood there, a strange and wonderful thing happened. From a dusty old box in the corner, a place he hadn't looked in a year, Elias heard a faint, tinkling sound. He walked over and lifted the lid. Inside, nestled among old photographs, was a small wooden music box he had carved for Clara on their first Christmas together. He'd thought it was broken. He wound the key and a familiar, beautiful melody filled the room, their favorite carol, Silent Night. A tear slid down Elias's cheek, but this time it wasn't a tear of sorrow. It was a tear of remembrance, of love that hadn't faded but had merely been waiting. The music was back. Lily's mother explained they had nowhere to go for the night. Without hesitation, Elias offered them his home. Soon, news of the stranded travelers and Elias's kindness spread through the small town. The mayor, who lived next door, brought over a Christmas ham. Mrs. Gable from the bakery arrived with a basket of fresh bread and pies. Before long, Elias's quiet cottage was filled with people, laughter, and the sound of caroling. Neighbors brought their own lanterns, and soon the entire street was aglow. They gathered outside, their voices rising in harmony, a community united by a simple act of kindness. Elias stood on his porch, Lily by his side, holding her glowing lantern. He looked at the faces around him, all illuminated by the warm light, and he saw Clara in every smile, in every shared song. He realized he hadn't lost the joy of Christmas. It had just been waiting for him to open his heart and share it. His loneliness had vanished, replaced by a profound sense of belonging. The little toy maker who had started the evening lost in his own quiet sorrow had found his way back. As the final notes of Silent Night drifted into the snowy air, Elias knew this was the true magic of the season. It wasn't in the gifts under the tree, but in the light we share with one another, the warmth we offer to a stranger, and the love that connects us all. Christmas, he understood now, was a lantern for the heart, meant to be lit and passed on. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, remember to share it with someone you love. Merry Christmas, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that warm the soul.